Hello everyone, I'm Chuck. I don't want to brag, but I'm a great blogger. I have my own YouTube channel and also a cool Instagram page. About 5 years ago was when it all started. And at first I thought of content for a long time, but then somehow it all started rolling. And I quietly and quickly began to gain subscribers. On one fine day, I randomly decided to show what I can do best, skateboarding. Yes, at first, it will seem to you that this is not a proper sport, but I skate very well, and I can perform several dangerous tricks in the air, and so my friend, Artemi, suggested trying blogging. I agreed, and from then on, my online life began. Generally speaking, only I am the only one who can skateboard in our family. There's my mom, my little sister, and me. And my dad lives abroad. He works there, so he rarely comes to visit us. We see him on the holidays and once a year while on vacation. At first, I missed him a lot, but he has a good position to work for. He provides for us really well. And my mother also works. She's a cook here. We have a house and we love it very deeply. Therefore, it was decided that Dad would leave and move abroad alone. When he was here, we often played baseball together. I loved the game. Later, my little sister was born and Dad left. And you can't really play those games with her. For my 11th birthday, my dad gave me a skateboard. At first, it seemed to me that it was a useless board. I was not impressed by the gift at all. I was even a little upset because I dreamed of a gaming console. But then standing on the board, I felt so cool, I felt like flying while in the moment. This is not at all what you feel when you stand on the roller skates. Since then, I've been stuck to my board. I skated day and night. My mother almost tore me off the board by the ears and reminded me that it was time to have dinner and sleep. All the knee pads and helmet broke in a week. Because I didn't just skate, I literally imagined an image of myself as a cool skater and did crazy stuff. I watched video tutorials and repeated tricks, the easy ones at first, and gradually got to harder and harder ones. So 4 years passed, and now I honestly won the status of the coolest skateboarder in my area. All the guys asked me to teach them. Those who were younger boards and came to my house. It was fun and amusing to watch them try. Well, then I started a channel and a page on Instagram where I got lots of likes and views. My father was proud of me, and I was also really proud of myself. The more subscribers and followers I got, the more people asked me to do this or that trick. And there were those who didn't succeed because their either board did not fit or I did something wrong. But fame is intoxicating. I wanted more and more of it each day. And then one day, when I was thinking about the next content, I came across a video online where one popular dude hyped and got so much clout because of a giveaway. Another risked his life just to get subscribers. I realized that it was time for me to come up with something explosive. Well, since I could not host giveaways because I was not as popular, it meant that I had a second option. So in short, I decided to fake my own death. It sounded very stupid, but the thirst for fame did not levy on my mind. Artemi was a master of editing and Photoshop, so we found some girls we knew who could put on realistic makeup for me. I decided to turn everything into an accident, and after some time passed and I would admit that it was a joke. We started filming in the beginning of the school holidays. I didn't have to spend my time on school, and it also was a big advantage. Artemi brought his camera, I put on my new t-shirt with the words, "I don't care, 'cause I'm dead," and we went to choose the perfect place for my death. Just at the end of the street was a half-ruined house. No one lived there for what seemed like 100 years. It was a 3-story brick building. A little gloomy, just what you need. Artemi set up the camera, turned it on, and greeted the viewers. I said that at the request I intended to demonstrate a dangerous trick without any support, without protection, and even a helmet. I wanted to jump from one end of the roof with my board while also turning over the air once or twice. Somehow I climbed up there. To be honest, I was terribly scared, but I actually tied myself with a rope to the other fixed ends as to not to fall. And despite all that, I even got dizzy from anxiety. I took deep breaths and rolled. I managed to roll over in the air, and of course I fell down. It's good that I was tied so nothing happened to me. Just a little scratch and my stomach squeezed. Artie helped me get off. Then we shot another video where I supposedly landed on another roof. But I suddenly slipped. I lost my balance and fell down. We shot all these videos and cuts with hundreds of amazing funny attempts. Then I lied down on the ground. The camera was shaking fakely. You could hear the voice over of my friend who shouted, called my name, called for help. We spilled ketchup everywhere and even put makeup on my face. And I was lying there like that, dead on the ground, not breathing. Then the video was abruptly interrupted, and such was the end. It worked out well. Artie came home and started editing everything. He removed the ropes, made beautiful cuts. It looked so believable that I almost believed it myself. I uploaded the video to my channel with a RIP Chuck thumbnail and waited. I closed the computer and decided to stay at home so no one could see me. Waking up the next day, there was some kind of electricity failure in our area. There was no electricity. My mother went to work and my sister and I stayed at home. I could not check how my blog was doing because my phone was dead and my computer would not work without electricity. All day we played board games, ate, took naps, and generally did nothing. In the late afternoon, the electricity was somehow repaired. I turned on the computer and saw so many new subscribers. I was so happy. First of all, I went and charged my phone. I was eager to call Artie. Then I saw a bunch of missed calls from my father. Damn, he probably saw the video. At this moment, my mother burst into the house. She was all in tears, very scared and dumbfounded. She pounced on me, began to examine me, and I barely blurted out this was all fake and just for the hype. Mom sat down on the floor and began to cry. As ill luck would have it, there was no electricity and no one could get through to me. And my mother was not allowed to use phones at work, so she did not hear that someone was calling her. After 10 minutes, a bell rang at her house. They called from the hospital and said that my dad, he was admitted there in a chaotic, crazy state, and now he is there not in his senses. Mom immediately went and brought plane tickets and took us with her. We rushed there the next day. I entered the hospital and saw my father. He looked strange. All the time he looked at one point and was silent. His work colleagues saw us and then looked at me and froze. That my mom told everything as it was, that all of it was just clever video editing. My father's colleague said that my father saw a video where I was dying and something just jammed in his brain. From that moment on, he is what they call a vegetable and looks at one point. Doesn't even really blink. At the sight of him, my heart almost stopped. My mother was hysterical, and I realized what a stupid thing I had done. Generally speaking, now he's undergoing treatment, and we're trying to bring him to his senses. The doctors said that there is hope. He's just in shock right now. Well, I promised that I would never do anything like that in my life again. If you enjoyed the video, then like it and write us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. How do you react to people who don't have an arm, a leg, or even just fingers? How do you feel when you see them? Surely you are wondering how it all happened. Maybe you sympathize with them and project it of yourself. For example, I don't have a part of my arm, and I know firsthand what it feels like when they look at you and think that you are not like everybody else. I really am not like other people. I don't have one hand. I will tell you right now how I lost it and how my life turned out after that. My name is Gerald, and from a very young age, I went to music school. I played the guitar. I just loved doing it, especially writing my own melodies and songs. It seemed to me that there was no better way to express feelings and emotions. My parents loved to listen to me sing. Mom applauded me the most after each performance. As I grew older, people around me began to advise my parents to take me to a talent show. Everyone said that I was really good at singing. This thought haunted me, and after a year I realized that I had become obsessive over it, and I decided to seriously talk to my parents. We decided to take a chance. I still remember that day. I was terribly worried before the first round. It seemed to me that I was about to faint from excitement and anxiety. I sang a song that I wrote myself and heard those sacred words, "You go to the next round." What? Oh my God, I shouted, not believing what was happening. My mother jumped off the stands and shouted, "This is my son!" She and my father were proud of me. I knew that. Joyful, we left the theater where the talent show was held and then went to a local cafe. It was a great day. Dad, as always, said his not funny jokes more than usual. And although my mom did not laugh, both of us knew that he was just happy and excited. After celebrating the event, we got into our car and drove home to prepare for the second qualifying round. It was supposed to take place in a week. I was planning to write a new song in my head. I was already composing the lyrics and notes. Suddenly, I heard my mother shrill cry, a car signal, and then I felt a sharp pain somewhere in the right of my body. I closed my eyes and realized that our car was flipping in the air, and then there was darkness. I woke up in the hospital. It turns out that we had a car accident. Someone cut us off and rushed away. Dad didn't even see what kind of car it was. I came to my senses and saw that my parents were standing over me. They stopped my attempts to speak to them, all while telling me that everything would be fine. They acted as if something had happened. I did not immediately understand and did not immediately see that I had something strange on my right side. There were a lot of bandages on my hand, but for some reason, the hand was shorter than usual, ended in the forearm area. Where is my hand? I asked anxiously. Then I vaguely remember how my mother, in tears, tried to explain that it was torn off during the crash. At first, I even thought that this was all a prank by my parents, that now the bandages would be removed and I would see my hand. But that did not happen. I realized that this was no joke when the doctor explained how they failed to save it. How did I feel? Worse than ever in my entire life. How can I live now? How will I play the guitar? Eat. I'm right-handed, and I lost my right hand. What now? I screamed like crazy. They injected me with a sedative. I spent at least 2 months in the hospital. Of course, there could be no talk of any competition or talent show now. I missed everything that was important to me. I could not come to terms with the thought that I was now inferior, that I could not do basic things on my own, like, for example, writing something down. I now needed to relearn to write with my left hand. Not an ideal situation at all. My friends wanted to come visit me, but I did not let anyone in. I did not want them to know that I was now different. Day by day, I alienated myself from them more and more until they completely stopped asking to see me. In the meantime, I was ordered a prosthetic hand. It was not quite an ordinary type like a doll's hand, unmovable. No, it looked more like a Terminator's hand, like that of a robot. It looked intimidating and creepy. But it was experimental. Actually, my father's friend was the one who created it, and it has not even been patented. Yet, it has many functions. It is movable and mobile. The fingers are quickly and easily controlled, and it can be controlled using a special chip. However, at the point, it did not look as aesthetically pleasing as it would later on. There were bare wires everywhere. I got it for free, and this was another argument in its advantage. Of course, nothing could replace my actual real hand. Yes, and an ugly cut in its place will remind me or make me think of a possible better life for the rest of my days, but I couldn't help or stop it. When in the end I went through shock, stress, and also full rehabilitation and recovery along with it, I told my parents that I would not return to my old school. After this, they made sure to transfer me to another one. And now, a new Gerald with a prosthetic hand instead of his right hand started a new life. I wore long-sleeved sweaters and put on a glove so as to not frighten others. But people cannot be fooled. As soon as I entered the classroom, everyone stared at my strange hand. And due to this fact I was hiding it, all the questions and fears became even greater. It was then that I learned what discrimination means. The hopes of making new friends collapsed with every single day. I saw distrust on the part of my classmates and even fear approaching me. But I myself did not want to be pushy. I hate intruding on people. Over time, I even got used to being alone. But nothing upset me like the lack of music in my life. I remembered how I used to play the guitar, sing the songs that I had written, and got such a high just knowing that I shaped the lyrics and the beautiful music. My creations lived regardless of the circumstances, and that gave me strength and love for my existence. One day, I came home after school and I was not in the mood at all. The people at school was planning to celebrate the birthday of our school. My classmates split up into pairs to prepare a dance that would be a gift, and no one chose me as their partner. Yes, they did not agree to dance with me. I didn't show any of my emotions. I just told the teacher that I wouldn't participate and went home. Of course, in reality, I was terribly insulting for myself. Am I to blame for what happened? I remember how before the car accident, I was going to compete for the title of the best one, and anger boiled in me. I started tossing everything around. Out of anger, I grabbed the desk with my prosthetics on me, lifted it with one hand, and threw it against the wall. And I was surprised at how easily I did it. That is, I didn't even feel the heaviness. From that moment on, I was drawn to different experiments. I either moved the furniture with one hand, then pushed my father's car, then dragged the groceries from the store. But I didn't really get anything from this. I just got kind of funny. I thought, well, at least there's some kind of an advantage from this after all. I became a little more confident thanks to my new talent, because now I was strong, although only my family knew about it so far. Despite the fact that no one went to dance with me, I decided to go alone. At the end of the day, I was also a student there. I stood on the side and drank juice. The headman of the class took the stage. She had a congratulatory speech on our behalf. Everyone applauded her at the end. When she went down from the stage, she accidentally tripped a shoe on a wire, which then pulled a speaker behind it that fell on another speaker, and the equipment fell down like a domino. One of our teachers was standing below the stage. At that moment, I ran up and the equipment fell down with a crash. Everyone screamed in the hall. When the noise died down a little, I opened my eyes and saw that our teacher is in front of me. She looked at me in a state of shock, and I held the entire load over our head with my prosthetic arm. This is how I saved her life. A second later, people came up to us and began to help me move the huge speakers. There was not a scratch on us, only fright and shock. Immediately, the whole audience started clapping for me, and the teacher burst into tears, hugged me, and thanked me for saving her life. Not to brag or anything, but I felt like a superhero. It was cool. Since then, I've become popular. My hand is no longer frightened anyone. On the contrary, it aroused interest. I made a lot of friends and my life has changed. Yes, it has become better, and I was no longer embarrassed by the prosthetics. On the contrary, it became my pride. So guys, if you have a prosthesis, don't be shy. We're just special. Subscribe, friends, so that you do not miss the next video.